Okay, hope everyone is doing all right tonight. We're gonna do something a little bit different. I'm gonna just kind of show a few things, kind of do some cyber threat emulation type stuff, and then I'm gonna use a couple different things, Posh Easy-Win to do some initial hunting on host. We'll start it up, show you how to start it up, show you some of the new features, and see if we can use this tool in a few different ways to kind of, hunt amongst the hosts off some potential IOCs that may have crossed the network and could be malicious. And we need to kind of get to it real quick and pull back any artifacts or any additional pieces of information that we need to kind of say, okay, yeah, we have, the information we need to go ahead and say, hey, look, this endpoint has been compromised through whatever means it may be, whatever initial access, and we're going to go ahead and triage it and just show us all some new things that Posh Easy-Win can do for you. So what I'm going to demonstrate here is using PowerShell Empire. You can see right here, I set up a listener over HTTPS using default Empire certs. I've created a few stagers. The C# one I'm using, the compiled C# binary that PowerShell Empire will compile for you when you make your initial stager. I'm going to use it in conjunction with right here, Lucky Strike to make a malicious XML document. And I won't go into the details of how to use Lucky Strike. I might make a different video on that, but essentially, after it's all said and done, you can generate a payload and with the binary and make a malicious, Office, file. Could be Word doc, could be an Excel spreadsheet, stuff like that. And also, I'm going to show you something really interesting. How when we execute it on, or we open the file on the endpoint, that Elastic EDR does indeed pick up on it, but it squeaks by it. So it's kind of interesting, and that's kind of like the thing right there. So EDR isn't like a silver bullet solution. Depending on whatever you have for your endpoint detection. So I won't dive into the details, but it's always good to have some sort of logging, because if the EDR doesn't do its job, then at least you can default back to the logs. Or if you don't even have that at all, you can use a tool like Posh Easy-Win to get you started. So let me go ahead and let's see. Here we are in the main directory. I pulled it down, so just pulled this down just a few minutes ago. And some new features. I'll show you to do that. But if you haven't used the tool before, then here's a quick startup. Here's usually what I do. I open PowerShell prompt as administrator, and I just do a recursively, get the whole directory. Unblock. I'm just essentially just unblocking all the scripts in the file. If you haven't set the conditions before, you might need to turn on WinRM, and also do set execution policy bypass. Mine's on already. And let's see right here. Here's Posh Easy-Win main script. Go ahead and fire it up. And here we are. You've probably seen this in my previous videos. We'll go ahead and let's do a resize right here. Let's go, I think about 1.3 should do it for my screen size scale. Let's go ahead and check all. Yes, I've read this a million times, so I know what the deal is. Here we go. Yes, and let's see here after it's done. It looks like, okay, here we are, the main screen right here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and show you something cool. Like I said, I've already compiled a malicious XML document, and I'm going to send it to Bob. Bob is one of our employees, and I'm going to go ahead and pretend that, hey, Bob, I have an email for you that I got from, I don't know, somewhere. I'll just call it new updates, and we'll go ahead and drag that payload on over. All right, here it is, and I'm just gonna say, hey, Please update and update, and we'll go ahead and send that off to them out into cyberspace. We'll go ahead and pop on over to Bob's terminal. Bob, fairly new employee, hasn't taken cybersecurity awareness yet. So he sees an email coming through. All right, he checks it, new updates again. It says, please update. All right, cool. Me, Bob, I'm going to update this Excel document because I was told to. And you can see here we have no beacon yet. I'll go ahead and extract everything. Let's see if this works. Live demos usually tend to always have flaws in them, but we'll see what happens. Let's see. Update report. Excel is opening up. And all right, so we have a malware alert from Elastic. Saw that pop up right there. Oh, what do you know? So let's see if we can spawn real quick into our listener before it hits the fan. Everything looks good. Default, yes, submit. All right, so you saw right there that Elastic did alert on some malicious activity happening, but we were still able to get a callback. So that's kind of interesting right there. Don't know what to make of that. I'd have to look more into Elastic's signature. I know that it's in prevent mode right now, but let's see if this actually executed and spawned. I don't think it did. Let's see here. Yeah, but anyways, nonetheless, it did in fact. I think I had this beacon. I think I had this beacon on 60-second interval. Ah, there it is. Oh, call back. So, quick draw McGraw. As soon as the beacon came back in, me as a malicious adversary, I went ahead and tried to spawn into a new process, which is apparently PowerShell. Yeah, interesting. Okay, I'm sure the logs are lighting up right now, and let's just take a quick peek. Oh yeah, for sure lighting up. So exactly how Lucky Strike definitely put it all together. Malicious macro spawn cert util, and we could definitely dive into this if we wanted to, but that's not the the premise of this video. What we're trying to demonstrate here is, well, obviously we're able to get past Elastic EDR, but also using Posh Easy-Win if you don't have a seam. So if you've watched the previous videos, you've seen that actually how to start up the tool, how to use it, all different kinds of methods and techniques. We have some new features, SSH queries for any sort of Linux operating systems if you need to query those with the proper credentials. So let's go ahead and get to it real quick. All right, so let's say for instance we have some alerts over the network. We see some suspicious stuff going on. We're like, okay, we need to go ahead and see if we can get to the endpoints. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and clear these out right here, and you can click all endpoints, and then what you'll do is you'll make actually right here node actions, delete selected nodes, and yes, let's see, let's do that again. Let's see here, delete selected nodes. Where's it at? Why is it not popping up? Let me see if I can resize this real quick. I don't like the way this looks. So if you need to resize it, you can go back into here, and I think it's going to be in user data settings and then form scale. So you can go right here and edit it real quick if you'd like. We can set this to, let's do like 1.2. And we'll save that form scale, and then what we'll do is we'll just relaunch the tool and it should be in a smaller scale. Yeah, it looks a little bit smaller. Looks a little bit even. It doesn't fill up the screen entirely. So we have that right there. It's firing up. Okay, yeah, looks a little bit better. Let's see if there was something in the way here. Selected nodes. Maybe it's hiding. Huh, interesting. Get rid of this. See if I can. Delete selected nodes. Why is that not working? All right, well, so if you come across this issue right here, no worries at all. Just go ahead and minimize. And here, if we go back to our main directory, what we can do is we will get rid of, it's supposed to be, I think it's going to be right, it's going to be a tree view for right here, get AD computer, demo data. So what we want to do is we want to get rid of this tree view data because that's the demo data. We don't need that. And we will close out the tool and rerun it one more time. Demos on the fly. You find little things that need to get fixed, but it should have cleared out the tree view. All right, so no endpoints. Great. Fantabulous. All right, so we know that our DC is DC 2016. We have the IP to it. We're given credentials to, you know, and you can be like workstation admin or DA. In this particular scenario, we are just going to be workstation admin. So let's see, it's my range lab. It's going to be administrator. And my DA password is, I think it's going to be, not, we'll do it again. So boom, credentials, we got our credentials. Now let's right click in the white space, import endpoint data, and DC 2016 is our DC. Let's see if this works. So I think the credentials weren't right. So we're going to go ahead and see if we can create new ones. My range lab administrator, and that should be it right there. And we'll just go to it one more time. Directory. Let's see what we get back. Looks like that might have been it. It's going, touching the DC with the proper credentials. And click right here and just click conical name. It'll kind of organize everything again. And we have all of our endpoints that are in our, that's in our Active Directory. So first things first, let's just take a quick glance at all the endpoints real quick and see which ones are making network connections that might be interesting for us to look at further. So we have our credentials. We're going to then go up here to search, and you can go to network right here. And the remote port that we're going to look at, let's see here. Let's get rid of the regex. If you want to be more inclusive, you can leave that option on. I recommend it for searching for things across the command line and such, and event logs and such. But right now we're just going to unclick because we're going to look for things specifically like ports. So let's look for 80 and 443 and see exactly what endpoints are talking to over port 80 and 443, destination port 80 and destination port 443. So Let's see here. Now, actually, what we want to do is, here, I'll show you something real quick. This is active connections. You can see right here. So sysmon will log event ID 3, and we may not have, like, if it's a persistent connection, then we would see it active, right? If it's a connection that's been logged, which could be a beacon, which can go up and down, then we might want to look at logged events. So if it happened in the past, right, then we want to look at logged events if sysmon is on the endpoint. So we'll click destination port, and we can select ports right here. So you can go like 80 right here, or you can just import yourself right here, 3 as well. And we'll just get rid of that, and we'll go ahead and execute. And we're going to do it across all of our endpoints. These have WinRM on, and it's not uncommon to see WinRM on in the environment, especially if you have like WEX and stuff like that set up. But in the event that you don't, you may want to get with the network owner, say, hey, can we turn WinRM on, because we're going to be doing some action. So what happened here, 2 queries were executed, one for active connections, and which is live, and log connections. So we can take a look at the active ones that are live and see what we have going on here. So you can see we have some endpoints going out to this 52 address. Do some recon on that. We might be able to see, hey, what's the deal? Is it malicious? Is this a Microsoft? What's using it? And then as we make our way down, we are definitely seeing some funkiness right here. So we have this connection over 443 here and 80. This one right here is particularly interesting. This is actually a live connection. So we see that user Bob has some sort of binary coming out of their Microsoft add-ins. Definitely a red flag. And it actually gives us a spot for us to look at as well. So this is also very interesting. We have some base 64 encoded commands being used with PowerShell over 443. So this is more than likely the spawn of the initial access, and we can see our beacon is still alive as well. Looks like our EDR is not as good as we thought it would be, and this is why it's good to showcase, having some sort of additional tool set in your toolkit to be able to get more granular with the information on the endpoint and try to figure out what's going on. So we have some indicators for sure. Now let's take a look at what was logged as well. I want to look at that too and see if this was logged. So we have our admin machine, Win10.04, and most definitely we can see right here it was indeed logged. It actually could have happened more than once. If you have a sysmon config that has specific parameters in it for logging rule name or logging actions that tied to rule names or TTPs from the minor attack framework, this can also be very interesting to pull back and store for historical logging. So yeah, very interesting. It definitely would seem that in a pinch we were able to quickly look at the overarching view of what endpoints have connections going from inside to out. So we kind of have like our way ahead. Where do we go from here? So if there's some features that I want to show you, if you would like to, and so we kind of know where we're going with this. So let's right click in the white space, and let's see here, right click again, and let's uncheck all nodes. Cool. We're going to go for Win10.04, our favorite host. And let's graph some data. Maybe want some visualization on this. And let's do endpoint network connections. and endpoint, process, and network. Actually, let's just do the endpoint, process, and network. This is using the PS HTML write function, and essentially it's going out and it's grabbing like processes with enriched data as well as network connections with enriched data. And here, click on WinRM, see all our WinRM commands for our endpoints. We have a script that's pretty much using right here, in a sense, network connections, TCP enriched. You can look at that in the script section of the file folder directory and dependencies, and also processes enriched as well. You can see exactly where that script is located once you hover over it. So pretty cool. And let's go back to monitor jobs real quick. Okay, it looks like it might be finishing up. And you know, one thing to note, if you're using Posh Easy-Win on an endpoint, I would recommend, you know, at minimum 4 gigabytes of RAM and you know, a couple of processors, so that you're not, you know, just slowly chugging along and trying to get a lot of data back from a lot of endpoints, and your endpoint you're trying to pull it back to is just having a hard time. So let's see if we can visualize this in a different way in HTML format. Here we go. You'll see that it'll start loading up the data, and once it does that, we'll be able to get a visual representation of kind of like processes and connections and such. And we'll kind of wait for that to load up. In the meantime, let's do something else. We can execute a slew of queries if we'd like individually, which is great. It gives us more flexibility right there. If we wanted to add custom queries, we definitely could do so. You can just disable syntax verification and then add your own custom query here. And once you do that, it will be added up under the WinRM PowerShell commandlets, users added commands. And yeah, that's pretty cool. So actually, let's just go ahead and we'll just say get service, get rid of this, and tag name could be sysmon, right? Oh, actually, that's already there. See our agent that is on the endpoint. We can just do that. Maybe we just want to get a quick poll across all the endpoints if our agent is there and up and running. Go ahead and add that, and boom. If you don't want it there, you can click it and remove. Pretty cool. Also for SSH queries, we can do here, we can do ps aux, and if we want to go ahead and add that, you'll see that it has been added to the SSH section. And if you want to just only see SSH queries, you can do that as well. Let's go back to our graphing visualization. So we chose processes and network graphing feature. We pull back all the data, and if you want to zoom in a little closer, you can see that here's our endpoint right here. And we're looking for any established connections that may be of interest to us. And this is just another way to visualize the data and quickly visualize anything in red that may have network connections from the endpoint, and any processes that may be also correlating to that particular connection as well. So if you want to look around into here, by all means, this is just another way for you to visualize the data. And I'm seeing if it pops out. It's actually going to show right here. We see we have a connection, right? And we see this is our endpoint. This is our network card. And this is the binary that's attached to. Here's where it spawned from. And we can also see, let's see here. All right, endpoints. Okay, so yeah, very interesting right here. Let's see, which came from Explorer. So also see right here, PowerShell, con host. So quickly we can definitely determine that Excel, oh no, here it is. So Excel spawned this process, which then spawned this process right here, which is connected to ultimately this destination IP over 443. So in this particular vicinity right here, I would be extremely focused on. We kind of have some tippers. Hey, look, something is definitely funky happening. So let's go into reactive mode on this piece. Interactions, let's do, let's just make sure we're good to go on our beacons. All right, and we actually know where this particular binary is located. Maybe we want to pull it back. So if we look at our network connections from a minute ago, we can see that it came from app data roaming Microsoft add-ins. So I wonder if we can just go ahead and do some more searching. Go to search, file search, and what if we could pull this up right here next to at the same time? Let's kind of pull this right here. Actually, so we'll just kind of do it like this. So C users Bob app data. So we got here C users and Bob, and then app data, and then we have roaming, and what else? Where else? We got Microsoft. Is it Microsoft? No, yep, Microsoft add-ins. Okay, so Microsoft, and then add-ins. All right, so we're going to search in this directory right here, C users. We're going to see if we can pull back this binary. Maybe we want to do some additional, analysis if it's malware. Let's see here. Is it admins? Is it I? Yeah. Let's just. It's like an L. Yeah, like that. Okay. Okay, so we have that directory listing. Let's do a file search. So something with the exe. Maybe there's a .xls or a docs. Oops. .cmd or maybe like a .zip. I don't know. And let's see here. Yes. All right. So let's see if we can go ahead and enumerate this endpoints directory. Let's see here. So no, we weren't able to find anything. Let's do this. Actually, let's just make sure that we are in the correct spot. We can just go right here. And let's just do one depth, recursive one depth in that one. And let's see what we can pull back. Nothing right there. Okay, so we want to make sure that we're going to the right spot. So let's enter PS session into that host and ensure that we are going to the right directory. C users Bob app data. Roaming. Microsoft is add in, that's capital I, yeah. Current working directory, cool. We have a lot of janky looking items in this particular directory. Okay, so we want to pull that back for sure. Looks like it might have been an I. Do that, and we'll do file search here. Okay, so I think we have the naming convention correct. With execute, and okay, we have directory listing, and let's do a grid view of this. Okay, so we actually have a directory listing. File search didn't come back because probably the structure of it wasn't correct, which is fine. But looks like we have our particular EXEs, a lot of them actually. I think the one that we were looking at with the network connection was S9G5E. Yeah, and we see that right there. Okay, so let's see if we can pull that back, retrieve files, and we have our directory listing. So let's not do that. Let's retrieve files, file search. So let's do this .exe, and let's see if we're able to list those files with the .exe extension. For some reason, I'm not able to, which is no biggie. File name. Let's do this right here, .exe, and enter file name. Oops, sorry. Sometimes you need to hover over the area you're wanting to use and understand a little bit. Enter file names, 1 per line. Okay, so enter directories, 1 per line. Let's go here, make sure we're using this. Enter directories. So let's do that. 0. And let's do a star right here. This should work. Getting too much data back. Review. Actually, we can just do like this, get file, and let's just get this file. Okay, yeah. Sorry, a little kerfluffle there. All right, so we have the file, we retrieved it, and it zipped up for a good reason, because you don't know if it's malware. If it is, you don't want to open that up on your endpoint. So we have additional data on this particular piece of malware. All right, so we have that. We've been given the green light. Let's go ahead and we're going to go ahead and kill these processes and kill the network connections, but let's kill the network connections first. We have our endpoint selected, Win10.04, and we select network connections to kill. And what it does is when you select that option and you have the proper credentials, it'll go out to the endpoint and look at all the current network connections. Let's look at 443, and we have this one and this one. So let's go ahead and kill. We can see it's still pumping. And we're in the clear phase right here. Let's go ahead and clear that. And let's go back, select network connections, and we severed that network connection. And let's make sure we do the other as well. It looks okay. So here we go. Boom. I'm killing everything to that 199 IP right now. And it looks like our first payload is gone. And let's look again to see if is there any connections going to it. Once again, we'll go ahead and select connections to kill. And it looks like we have some persistence occurring here. Let's see here. Looks like maybe the first one, we did the first one in, but the second one that spawned is a little bit more persistent. So maybe we give the green light to go ahead and kill the process. So let's go to select processes to stop from this endpoint. And the particular process for this is 10204. All right, so it's going out, it's obtaining all the processes. Let's see if we can find it. 10204. Nope, let's do some manual searching for PowerShell here in our out grid. And right here, we have a few instances of PowerShell that are up. Let's see if there's any additional information that we can gain off of this. I want to be sure that we're killing the right PowerShell session. So let's see if we can associate any PIDs with a network connection, and then we'll go back into the process stopper and see if we can go from there. Let's see, parent process. And right here we have 10204 is the parent process, but we have 11388. Okay, so 11388. We'll see if we can find that PID here in our process stopper function for killing the process, because then that would inherently kill the connection, which we have one still persistent. All right. What did I say it was? Actually, I don't know if I see it. Let's see here. Bot version, handle count. You know, there could be multiple PowerShell actual process is up right now. So I'll tell you what, this will probably kill all of it. If I kill one, let's go ahead and kill that one and see what happens. All right, let's go back to network connections and see if we still have an active network connection occurring. And it says established, but I don't think that's quite the case. Actually, it is definitely established. So there could be more than one instance of, or more than one process of PowerShell occurring right now. So it might behoove us to kill all of them to ensure that we're actually, that might have taken care of it right there. Let's see what we have PowerShell related. No, it's still going, but this might be the same data on top of itself. No, it's still it. Very persistent indeed. So what we can do is slowly chip away at it and kill each process. We might be able to kill the network connection as well, which is probably what we should do, is see if we can kill the network connection, which may kill the process. So let's just get out of here, select network connections to kill, and let's find our connection to the C2, still up and running. Let's do this. Yes, we killed that connection. And let's see here. If there are any additional things that you want to enumerate, for instance, let's say you want to pull back like an EVTX log, right? You can go to search and event logs, and let's say, I don't know, let's look at security, right? We'll pull back the EVTX log for security, and then maybe use Chainsaw, which is a nifty binary that uses a few different integrations to parse through EVTX logs in a rapid fashion, so that you can then search for anything malicious on the endpoint that may have occurred or happened in the logs. So we'll do that, and it looks like we may have killed the beacon, but we'll come back here in just a second to that. And right now we're pulling the EVTX log, the security EVTX log from the endpoint, and we're going to use Chainsaw to parse through the EVTX log and use a Sigma file that comes with this binary to look at specific event IDs, such as process creation and such, and then load Sigma rules on the back end and try to make some correlation to see if there's any events that occurred that may be malicious or stand out to us. And this is just, a different way for you to hunt on endpoint data as well. So it looks like we did indeed kill that process. It's been over 2 minutes. These beacons were set for 60 seconds. Actually less than that, 5, and then the jitter was, this one was set to 5 seconds and the jitter was 15. So yeah, that's definitely all right. So we have our security EVTX log, and let's do Chainsaw. This is a pretty nifty tool. You can also do it with Sysmon logs and PowerShell as well. And we have a bunch of data points that we pulled. We know there was network connections happening between internal and external. We know that there were suspicious binaries and locations that had these network connections associated with the endpoint to external IPs. And also we were able to kill network connections and kill process. We did a bunch of other things as well. But also right here, you can see that we're able to see some additional information that kind of gives us the thumbs up, like, all right, definitely suspect activity happening on the endpoint. I won't go through all the details, but yes, this is definitely a red sign right here. And yeah, so I hope, kind of a long video here, but I just wanted to showcase a few things. I'm really just, just having fun messing around, and I hope, maybe I've showed some things that you might want to try out. There's a ton of other features that I haven't gotten to yet, but I would love to, but this is just kind of get you in the seat, have some fun, look around for some malicious stuff to see what you can do using Posh Easy-Win. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please drop a comment below, if you want me to do something different, maybe show a different feature. The creator, Daniel Komnick, he's great at putting everything together and showing the world what he can do with his nifty coding skills. And I love using the tool. I love working with Dan. It's been great. Adding feedback, and everything like that. There's just so much power to a tool like this, all in PowerShell, and I love it. It's great. Hope to hear some feedback and some comments from you guys. Hope you enjoy the video. Take it easy.